Shadow of Hawk here, and let me just say, may the fourth be with you. So, today I'm doing a tier list for the different Star Wars characters. On this tier list, it's a pre-made one. I just skimmed at it. I don't really know exactly who's on here and who's not on here. I have a rule though. I can only put 3 characters in S tier, so the tier list actually matters. So let's get into this. Starting off, Ahsoka Tano, and I can like go back and change this around if I decide, hey, I need to change this character. So for Ahsoka Tano, I'm going to put her solidly up at A tier. The writing around this character, I think, was really, really well done. She started off as like a bratty, annoying character, but grew as well. Kids grew up, and she is. I mean, if you look at how much people freaking love her and how defensive people were over her portrayal in The Mandalorian and Book of Boba Fett, which, by the way, I believe the actress did a good job of bringing a cartoon character to life. And I'm just gonna leave it there. That's not what this video is about. But I've always loved this character. I've always enjoyed seeing her on screen. I've always loved her quipping with Anakin, and yeah, just solidly a good character. However, she's not high enough on my personal I love this character list to be S tier. This S tier is like I stan this character, and with Ahsoka, I am just a really big fan of her. Do I even need to explain why this character belongs here? Just like the Critical Drinker did a really good video explaining why Admiral Holdo doesn't work. I recommend you go watch it. Anakin. So remember how I said I can move characters back down? I'll probably have to do this. Anakin and by extension Vader. This is technically the same character. S tier. Because Anakin, while the acting was kind of shoddy in the prequels, is a masterclass in storytelling. He is a Gary Stu. He is a character where the universe gave him everything for the chance to be a great hero, and he became freaking Gothmog. He became the villain. He became the Witch King of Angmar to Palpatine's Sauron. He became the villain because of the choices he made, and that is just such a good story. So this is technically one character in my personal assessment. So that's the first S tier. Asajj Ventress, I'm gonna put her at B tier. Really good antagonist, really good anti-hero. And if her novel had come out, I think I probably would have pushed her up to A due to like the full rebound. But like just the story of her being given away by the Night Sisters and then training to be a Jedi and then getting trained by Dooku after her master died, and just all the interactions she's had with Kenobi and stuff. Like just a really solid character in my book. Baby Yoda. I'm putting him in C, and let me explain. He is not a character at this stage. He is a plot device. He is not really, aside from a single choice he has made, pretty much every instance of why people like him is either things that other characters have done around him, or has just been because he's really fucking adorable. That is my one F word of the day. Um, he's not. I can't like. He's not a bad character. There's nothing bad about him, but there's nothing like amazing about him as a character. He's only ever been a plot device. So I'm just gonna leave him at C. Same thing with BB-8. BB-8 he's comedic, he's funny, but whatever. They call him a he. I'm gonna call him a he, even though he's a freaking machine. He's never done anything worth being put up here, but at the same time, he's not a bad character. So I'm just gonna leave him at C. Boba Fett. So I never read any of the extended. I've read a couple of books about Boba being a kid. I'm putting him in B because he's cool. He looks awesome. He's an epic fighter, but from the content I have consumed, he's not good enough, in my opinion, to put at an A tier. Now, yes, I'm aware there are comics and I'm aware there are books where he is like this amazing, well-written character. Clone Wars, the original trilogy, Mandalorian, Book of Boba Fett. That is all I have to work with in regards to Boba Fett. And well, I think he's a really good character. I really love him in the Clone Wars as like this kid who's having to grow up, and I really liked him in Mandalorian, just ripping and tearing. He's not good enough to really put higher. C3PO again gonna go here. He's funny, but he's never really a character. More so either a plot device or an observer. He's very rarely got his own agency. I don't think I need to explain this one. It's Cad freaking Bane. Cad Bane is just awesome. Next up, Captain Rex. I'm also gonna put him in an A tier. Basically, okay, I'm gonna be upfront. Pretty much every clone is gonna be an A tier for me personally because I grew up with these bastards. But also B, they're just like the morality of the writing of behind them of like, are they men, are they machines that happen to be biological, what happens to them after the war is done. Like, it's every time there's a clone centric episode, or every time a clone takes center stage and they talk about these issues, it is intriguing because like what do you the clones are a slave army. That is what they are. They are a slave army. They are janissaries. They are the Jem'Hadar. They are bred in tubes and then sent off to die, and they don't have a choice in the matter, and if they try to make a choice in the matter, they get executed. That is what they are, and that is but like it is a necessary evil, and not only that, the clones seem to, for the most part at least, enjoy their lives. Like, sure, they hate losing their brothers, but in the middle of a firefight, they quip, they laugh, they have a good time, they count kills. It's such an interesting moral dichotomy. And also, Rex, really well written character, and I love seeing him on screen. He's a badass, and also when he's taught, he's a good commander. He's a badass, and again, all these philosophical discussions he has with people. I'm half hoping that we see him in upcoming live action content, but I also know that that would probably be done as just filler content, or to be like, hey, that's Captain Rex. But Disney, if you ever see this video, Captain Rex, but as a RoboCop Judge Dredd, like just covered in cybernetic augmentations in a helmet and just ripping and tearing across the outer rim, just enforcing the law of the New Republic. Who is this? I think this is Cassian Andor. I'm gonna put him. I'm gonna put him at C. He he's not a bad character. For what he is, he's interesting. He has like a good level of like interest into the series, but at the same time, he's only got the one movie, and he's just not. He's a very stereotypical character. If that, like, I don't know, like stereotypical in general in the fiction. I like him, but not enough really. He's not interesting enough, and I don't have enough of a personal connection to put him above C. But he is certainly better than a D or an F. So I'm just gonna leave him there. Chewie, I'm gonna put at B. Really fun character, nostalgia from watching the original trilogy as a kid. Um, really just a good side character, a good wingman. I really, really like Chewie. Uh, not really much else to say. Chirrut, I'm also going to give him a B because, yeah, he's got the same situation as Cassian, but he's a more interesting character because he's effectively a Jedi without a lightsaber. Like, that is what he really is. And just like the philosophical takes he has and his connection with his buddy, I really, really like it. Count Dooku. Whenever he's on screen as like an antagonist, he is threatening, he is controlling, he is dangerous, he is a badass, especially in the Clone Wars. The Clone Wars really makes this guy into a very interesting character, as he does, as the prequels does with a lot of characters. Darth Maul, absolutely an S tier. Just the story of what, like, and this is one of the characters where I haven't read any of his comics, but I've Googled him and read the wiki pages and stuff. They need to do a Darth Maul series. They need to animate his childhood, his teenage years. This character is just he was given to Sidious because his chances of being because his mother didn't want him to be treated like a normal male because he was so much better than just a normal male, but Sidious treats him like a dog. Like just beats him, bullies him, treats him horribly, and forces him to become the perfect killing machine. And then his first real test run, he gets killed and is cast aside, but then he comes back with hate and rage as his only form of sustenance and tries to take the galaxy by storm and just fails. Krennic, I'm going to give a C. He's decent for a villain. Probably could have just avoided crying as much as he did. I say crying, more like screaming. And yeah, like he's not bad enough to where I put him down here. Not good enough to put him up here. Oh, Palpatine. Palpatine, 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 Palpatine. What they did with him in the sequels, I cannot forgive. I just cannot forgive. Just the writing behind that was just really, really bad. I really, really did not like it, and I have to account everything from like the content I've seen. I do not like what they did to him in the sequels. It takes like this really conniving and interesting character who thought he had won to, oh yeah, I was pretty sure I was gonna lose, so I stashed all these ships and all these cultists and stuff in the Outer Rim because I want to be able to, like, in case I lose. Like, it ruined the character, at least how he's presented. Yes, I know in the Legends content he comes back multiple times, but I haven't read that. If I had read that, I'd probably be fine with this. Anyway, moving on. Ezra Bridger, I'm gonna put him into C. The rest of the Ghost crew is just more interesting in my opinion. He was never really he never really drew me in as an interesting character. Like, sure, he's the street rat, he's training to be a Jedi, but there was never really anything interesting about him that made me care about him. Finn, I feel really bad. I feel really, really bad for his actor, whose name is currently escaping me. I blame Winnie the Pooh for what happened to him. Finn had the opportunity to be an amazing character. General Grievous, A tier. If you watch the 2003 version, threatening, murderous son of a bastard, terrifying, just horrific monstrosity. And then if you watch the Clone Wars, not the same thing, but he's still also very just he's a fun character to see on screen. And when he gets to rip and tear, oh boy, does he get to rip and tear. The episode where he like fought the Night Witches and stuff, that was a good episode. That was a good day to die. Hux. Such a just a really badly handled character. Started off as like okay. If it was just Hux from TFA, I'd put him here. If it was Hux from The Last Jedi, I'd put him here. Hux from The Rise of Skywalker goes here because the Hux from here and even here would never have been the spy. And also this whole like it's just this is the man who consigned multiple worlds to death. Like, his bed was made. There is no reason. Like, sure, I don't like Kylo. Okay, so you would, if he was actually an Imperial officer, which is what he's supposed to be a mimic of, what he would do is he would plan to kill Kylo from the inside. He would pull some sort of shifty stuff from the inside and try to kill him that way, but he doesn't. He decides to defect to the people who will execute him for being a war criminal. Admiral Thrawn. I've never read the Thrawn trilogy. I have seen Rebels, and aside from plot armor in the final episode, Thrawn never loses. Okay, fine. He lost at freaking Chopper Base, but that was because Imperial Admirals are going to Imperial Admiral. But Thrawn is really one of the few Star Wars antagonists who kicks ass the entire time he's on screen. He just keeps punching and punching and punching and brutalizing and punching and just does not care. And it's so good. I'm going to put Tarkin here as well because the little we do see of him, he's like in he's in original trilogy, first movie of the original trilogy. He's in Rogue One and he's in Clone Wars, and he is dominant in every scene that he is in all three of, in pretty much the Citadel arc, in A New Hope, and in Rogue One. Whenever he is on screen, he is in control. He is Tywin Lannister. He's not the most physically imposing character. He's not the most martially adept character. He doesn't have space magic. He doesn't have a mind for technology, but he just has that sheer control and charisma that makes him dangerous. Han Solo. I'm putting him in B. I never really bought into the Han Solo hype personally. Like, he's a fun character. I do enjoy seeing him, but he's a cowboy in space with a spaceship. Like, he's not to me personally big enough to go up here, and it could just be you're probably going to notice a theme here with most of the characters that are up here compared to like down here. Clone Wars is how I enjoyed Star Wars. It is how Star Wars was fed to me as a kid. So Clone Wars is more important to me than the original trilogy, and that could very well be why a lot of the OT characters are ending up in B and C. Harrison Dula. Like, to me, it's a toss-up between these two because, like, she's interesting. Bad Batch kind of ruined her, in my opinion. I'm not going to get into that because this isn't a review of Bad Batch, but it's just, in my opinion, she's the second least interesting, and Chopper doesn't count. Chopper's a droid. She's the second least interesting character, in the Ghost, because she's more interesting than Ezra, in my opinion, like way more interesting than Ezra, but at the same time, she's not good enough to be a B, in my opinion. So I'm just gonna leave her in C and be done with it. Hondo Onaka. I love this pirate bastard so much. Just, I need to memorize some of his quotes and just use them on a day-to-day basis. He's just, yeah, he's not the best written character. He's not the most important character. He's literally just here for comedic relief. But Frelling, damn, I love this guy so much. So those are my 3 S tier characters. Jabba the Hutt. I'm gonna give him a B, and this is pretty much just how Clone Wars what Clone Wars added to the character, which wasn't that much, but it really showed him being a crime boss and just made him more than like a fat slug who got choked up by a chick in a bikini. Like, it's Clone Wars kind of made, like, you got the vibe that he was in fact the Don Corleone, the Victor Salamanca, not Victor Salamanca, the Hector Salamanca, the Don Falcone. Like, he was actually a threat. Jango Fett, B tier. Yeah, in the movie, he's not very intimidating, but if you read some of the, again, this is based on Wiki, I haven't read any of his comics and stuff, but the fact that he was the Mandalore for a bit, the fact that, like, one of the few comics I have read showed off a Mandalore, and the fact that Jango Fett was good enough to be a Mandalore is just impressive to me. And also, I love Mandalorian armor, it looks cool. Jyn Erso. I'm putting her at B tier. Jyn Erso is what Rey Palpatine should have been. Jyn Erso is a badass, kick-ass chick who struggled and struggled and struggled, and just, if it wasn't for the fact that all the characters in Rogue One had to die to explain why they weren't in the OT, she would have gone on to be one of the baddest mofos the freaking rebellion had. She was definitely a very powerful character, and I really enjoyed seeing her on screen. So definitely a B tier. Also a B tier with K3. He's too damn funny. He is too damn funny, and his like self-sacrifice at the end was just really, really powerful to me. Kanan Jairus, the second most interesting character of the Ghost Crew, so I'm gonna put him there. I really, really like him. It's less that I really, really like him, and more he's just a very interesting character study. He's one of the few characters I'd say Bad Batch improved. Just like giving a background of like why, just like showing off his days as a Padawan. Well, not his days as a Padawan, but like how he was as a Padawan was really interesting to see. And just him having to not only learn how to train Ezra, but also be a Jedi himself was just really powerful. And his death, I mean, you saw it coming if you like thought about mentors. But yeah. Kylo Ren, the only sequel trilogy character I will be giving a C, because if you watch the sequel trilogy and watch it as Kylo Ren's story, it becomes passable as a trilogy. I really like. It's sad that an average character is the best character out of a trilogy, but like that's just how it is. He goes from like this imposing villain to this like bitch boy. But at the same time, it's also like he's the one going through all the moral struggles, the trials, and he feels like he's actually growing as a character. He goes from the Mom, it's not a phase. I love Linkin Park. It's my song. They're my band. You don't understand me. To willing to die for this chick that he's got he basically tier 3 subs with his life. That is what he is. But it goes from like him just not being able to control his emotions to being in total control of his surroundings. At least that's what I viewed. Lando, again, he doesn't really do anything to make him a good or bad character. He's just there. He's... Yeah, like that's really... I thought, like, so, gonna be completely honest, I kind of forgot that he was a character set up in Empire Strikes Back. And first time I watched Return of the Jedi and Empire Strikes Back was literally just it was within hours of each other because my family was marathoning it. And so yeah, Luke Skywalker, I'm also gonna give a C. I don't really have like that deep of a connection to him, and I do have a few minor issues with his writing, but they're not egregious. And it's just I didn't grow up with him as much as I grew up with these other characters, and he's Prince Arthur but watered down is the way I'd describe him personally. Mace Windu would be an A if Lucas allowed Samuel L. Jackson to say motherfucker. That's all I'm gonna say. Din Djarin, he would be a C if he wasn't a fucking Mando. So because he's a Mandalorian, I'm gonna step him up. His character is very basic. There is a level of plot armor to him, and also video game writing about him just going quest line, quest line, quest line, quest line. But like it's just he was really the first bit of good Disney Star Wars content. And you might argue, what about season 7 of the Clone Wars? The only part that was actually Disney from that wasn't already like set up or pre-written or pre-planned was Trace and Rafa. I fucking hated Trace and Rafa. So no, this is like the first bit of good stuff to come out of Disney Star Wars, in my opinion, and I've got to put it where it belongs. Maz is also a C. She's not really important. She's not good or bad. The moments that we do have of her are interesting. Obi-Wan, I'm gonna put up in an A tier. Again, pretty much just because of Clone Wars. I love him and Satine were like very interesting, and just the theories of what would have happened if she had actually asked him to leave the Order are phenomenal. Like I love those thoughts experiments. Padme is a plot device, but in Clone Wars she's kind of elevated, but also plot device. Okay, even in Clone Wars, she serves mostly as a plot device for Anakin. That said, though, when she is allowed to be her own character, she's a good character, well written, so I will put her in B, but she's like a lower end on the B tier. Now, Poe Dameron. Wasted potential, I'm going to put him in D. Okay. He's an upper level D, borderline C, but there is just, they're attempting to make him the new Han Solo, but they just don't do it well enough because we don't really get any good character motivation for him until the third movie. And even then, it's not good at all. It's just really, really bad. And then in episode 8, he's just a fucking joke. He's just a joke character for Holdo to just bash around and belittle. Leia, I'm gonna give Leia a B because she's just there's like a level of like command and power to her character, and also like the risks she takes, especially if you like, for example, in Rebels, she shows up in Rebels once. Just like the risk, she doesn't need to do these risks. She could just stay in her little Alderaan penthouse and just preach and be against war and stuff, like what a lot of people in America are, like claiming, oh, we need to be better people, we need to fix the helpless while drinking their $10 Starbucks espressos. She could do that. She could sit back and just protest this stuff, but no, she's on the front frowning lines whenever she can be. She is roughing it with the freaking troops. She's a freaking badass. I'm going to put her in a B. Qui-Gon Jinn. So this is less of what the character and more of the events he sets in motion. It's because of Qui-Gon that the story happens, and he's a very interesting character. Apparently there are some books that go deeper into who he is. I should check those out. But yeah, B tier. R2-D2. I know what I said about droids. Fuck you. It's R2. He is hilarious, and unlike every other droid in the series, he's actually a character throughout stuff like Clone Wars. So frick you. He's an A tier. Rey Skywalker. So much freaking missed potential. Like, holy crap. Sorry, sorry, Freudian slip. I meant Rey Palpatine. So much wasted potential with this character. Just absolute horrific amounts of wasted potential. What kinds of wasted potential? Well, for one, double-bladed lightsaber. We see that she uses a bow staff. Have her use a freaking double-bladed lightsaber. That would have been so much cooler. Have her actually struggle with the dark side. Have her actually tempted with the dark side. Have her actually fucking kill Chewie. Actually give her actual fucking challenges. Make her struggle. Make her an interesting character. But no. We're just gonna have her go through the motions and just be this perfect character who kind of sort of goes through struggles, but doesn't really, because the writing level of her story is the same as a fucking Call of Duty game. Holy shit, why do I have this much repressed anger about this character? What is wrong with me? Let's move on. This next character, it's Rose Tico. She's a D-tier character, not as bad as a lot of people say she is. My only issue is that she deprives Finn of a noble death, a good death. aside from that, not really a bad enough character for me to comment on. Sabine Wren, A tier. I have some issues with the timeline around her character, which I can get into if people are interested, but she's the most interesting character in the Ghost Crew, in my opinion. Cutting away, if she was like in her 20s, I would have very few. If she was in her 20s, I would definitely see myself putting her up in S tier. But as she is, she's stuck in A tier because her timeline doesn't really make sense, and they also kind of pile on too many hats onto the character. But she's a tragic character. All she wanted to do was be a good member of her clan, to be a good member of the Empire, and all she did was cause pain and suffering trying to be the best she could, and she ran and ran. She is what Finn should have been. She's a person who is just trying to do her best for her country, for her empire, and then she made a mistake, and then everyone turned on her for it, and she fucking ran away. She hid. She tried to hide, but when push came to shove, and she had grown as a person, she stood tall as hell and did what she needed to fucking do for her people. So, damn good character. Savage, oh fucking press. Also in A tier. He's a very simple character, but just okay. The dynamic between him and Maul of them being like brothers who they fuck with each other. Savage, if he ever smells weakness, would probably kill Maul, but they are brothers. They are tight knit. They are close. They're what the rule of two should be. They're what the rule of two should be. It should be two people who are connected on a deep level, whether it be brotherly, sisterly, lovers, whatever, who are deeply connected, but also if one ever grows too weak to be the master, is either replaced or removed to allow the new generation to grow. That is what him and Maul are. Together, actually, you know what? Fuck it, I'm breaking my rule. Maul and Savage together are S tier. Their connection, their relationship, how Savage grows from just Ventress's dog to his own tragic character is just, I love it. I love these two characters. You're probably noticing a theme with my picks of like characters I really freaking love. I don't care. Snoke, F tier, just so much wasted potential. And then Yoda is B tier. Again, Clone Wars, they do some fun stuff with him in Clone Wars. Prequels, they do some pretty fun stuff with him in the prequels, but he's not on the same level as some other characters for me. So, this is my Star Wars tier list. Feel free to tell me why I'm wrong about my own opinions in the comments down below. Have a good day. May the 4th be with you. Bye.